Hello there, YouTube. How you doing? Hello, Instagram. All right. So it's good to see everybody. I'm Loren. I'm here at Tanglewood. It's a beautiful Friday morning. It's actually been an interesting Friday morning. We had rain from 6 until about 8 o'clock. And I put on blue jeans and a long sleeve shirt because it was a little chilly. And now the sun has come out and now it's getting cloudy again. But it's a beautiful day. This is the rainiest time of the year for us. It's a wonderful thing because we've planted hundreds of fruit trees in the last weeks. And so having that rain is a wonderful blessing. This is what we need and want to make sure that our trees are happy over the long dry season that starts in December. So we're here to talk about health today. I'm going to be answering questions. Again, if you're with me on Instagram, I'm going to be focused on questions. I see lots of you here, and I'm glad to see you all on Instagram with me, but I'm going to be primarily responding to the questions on YouTube because my computer screen and my phone are roughly the same distance, and the computer's a lot easier to read. So I'd have to come a little closer to read the phone because it's I've got it back pretty far. As you can see, if I reach out, I'm still not there. Anyway, okay, let's take a look here. I'll start at the top. Scroll up a little bit. Oops, that's the wrong place. So, oh, there we go. Okay. Got lots of comments already. We'll start with Mia Cha. Monsong Chia, that's what I thought. Mia, do you prefer Mia? Email you soon? Yes, you keep telling me you're going to email me, but I don't hear from you. Please do. I'd like to connect with you and talk with you about this before we go. And I booked 20 fast so far and want to extend to a 40. Okay, so listen. If you want to do that, Mia, right now there's still an opportunity to save 20% on the balance. So that's going to be by making that balance payment soon. So let's talk. Let's find a way to connect. Let me know when you're available, and I want to connect with you. Okay, I want to talk about that with you. Make sure we get your time booked while we still have space available, because right now I think we're getting close to being full for December, and this is important for everyone. Right? It's been a long time since you've been able to travel, perhaps. It's been a long time since people have been able to come here. We've had, 6-7 months now since we've been open. I mean, we closed our last session at the end of February. So, yeah, it's been 7, coming up on 8 months. And, people are here now. We have a few people, but not very many. And I'm going to try turning this and seeing it. That's a little bit better. It was a little too much oriented toward the door and a little bit washed out. Okay. In fact, I'm going to try something else. Give me just 1 second here. So those of you that have been waiting to get here, the opportunity is now, and now travel is possible. That's a little better, I think. And it may change. It may be that because it's possible now, it may be that we fill up very, very quickly. I think we're getting close now. There's still some space, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last. All right. We have a $4.99 super chat contribution. Let me scroll down. That's Stephanie, who is here almost every week, almost every time. Hello, Stephanie. Good to see you. New Mexico residents are now allowed to enter Costa Rica. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. So, I'm in an interesting dilemma here because I don't have a state ID. I don't have a U.S. driver's license. I have it now for quite a while. And in order to come here from the U.S., you need to show that you're coming from one of the states where travel is allowed. Hopefully, this all changes by late November when I have to leave Costa Rica to renew my visa. Because right now, if I go back to the U.S. and I can't prove I'm coming from a state where travel is allowed from, I won't be allowed back in. So I may... And there's no place around here. Panama's closed to us. I mean, we can go to Nicaragua, we can go, but we won't be able to come back into Costa Rica. Panama's closed. I can go to Mexico, but I'm not sure I can come back into Costa Rica. So some interesting things happening. Anyway, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you're able to join us. I know we're going to be seeing you in December, and we're looking forward to it. All right. Wu Wait says, hello, Loren. Lovely to see you. Piercings and tattoos, yay or nay? Well, let's see. I'll start, first of all, full disclosure, this may already be obvious. I have a pierced ear. I pierced my ear. I am coming up on 60. I got my ear pierced in my 20s. I wore I had a starter cubic zirconia when it first happened, but went out and had a beautiful, my birthstone is emerald, and I had a beautiful emerald stud made, which I wore for a long, long time. In fact, I finally bought this about 3 or 4 years ago in Argentina, and until then had the same earring and never took it out. It was always there. I replaced it with this white gold piece, and I've had it in ever since. Honestly, if I were to do it again, I'm not sure that I would get my ear pierced. I don't think it's particularly harmful. It may not be the best thing in the world, but I don't think it's really such a problem. Tattoos, unfortunately, are definitely not good for us. Putting ink in the skin means there's a problem. There's ink absorbed into the bloodstream, and it does create issues. And they've shown that there are higher rates of specific diseases with tattoos. Yes, there are better inks than others. No, there's no such thing as really a safe one. I had a very interesting experience. I had a client who recently had a tattoo done, first one, and got very sick as a result. This is a guy that had a clean body. He felt very sick as a result. And then he gave his body the chance. He called me and was like, "What should I do?" I said, "Well, do it short, fast." His body actually wound up eliminating most of the ink very quickly. Not all of it, but the tattoo faded dramatically much faster than it normally would. And he was kind of glad because he had this very toxic reaction to it. I see here, Gareth says, ear piercings cause keloids. I've had an ear piercing for many, many years now, as I said, more than 30 years, no keloids, perfectly fine. It can be a problem. It can, but it's not always. Lots of people have no problems whatsoever. So, again, maybe it's better not to do it. I don't think it's so harmful. I don't think there's really too much to worry about. But I wouldn't recommend getting a tattoo. And if you already have them, that's another story. What you do about that's up to you. You can have them removed. That might be a good idea. But I certainly wouldn't encourage anyone to get more of them. And I'll tell you personally, this is just a personal thing, but personally, I love skin. Like I personally prefer no tattoos. Like I'm more attracted to to healthy skin than I am to tattoos. But that's a completely it's a personal choice. Okay, I've got two more super chats here. The first one is Jonathan Mullinex. Jonathan says, "Hi Loren, $4.99. Hi Loren, I'm currently watching this stoned. What are your thoughts on marijuana legalization?" I was just talking about marijuana use, my own marijuana use. I don't know if you're aware of this, Jonathan. I've tried marijuana, not a lot, just a few times, 3,000 or 4,000 maybe. From 14 to 25, I was often stoned. Went to school stoned every day, or got stoned when I got there, actually. I believe that people should have the right to use marijuana if they want to. It is toxic. I talked about how I had dementia-like symptoms by the time I was 18, 19, after smoking it for 4 or 5 years already. I already was noticing much poorer brain function, much poorer cognition, poorer memory, etc. There was a couple of years when I was at the Air Force Academy where it was much harder to smoke pot. I did, but not very often. It happened every once in a while. And all of a sudden, once again, as had been before, I was on the dean's list for 2 years without studying. It was just, if I went to class and paid attention, school was easy for me. And then I left there and went to college and started smoking pot again, and once again created much poorer brain function. So there's, I first of all, I believe you should have the right to do what you want as long as you're not endangering other people. Second of all, if you're truly committed to your health and vitality, I don't think there's any valid justification for marijuana use of that kind. Now, obviously, for someone who's in pain or has glaucoma, these kinds of issues, that's one thing. Even for cancer, people, and not smoking pot, but people who use CBD for cancer and believe. I have a friend who tells people that it cures cancer. No, it doesn't. It might eliminate tumors. toxic things like chemotherapy and radiation eliminate tumors, and CBD is toxic as well. And it's completely untrue to say that it's not toxic. Certainly, taking in any kind of smoke into your body is toxic, but even using CBD oil, there's some toxicity there. Personally, I have no interest in using drugs anymore. I've been completely sober since I was 25, after being hardly ever sober for 11 years. I've been sober now for 35 years nearly, and I love it. I like being fully conscious. I like that my brain works really well most of the time. Obviously, if I'm overtired, not as well, but generally speaking, much better brain function. And that is at least partially because I don't use these substances. Okay, so to me, I mean, yes, it should be legal, and no, you probably don't want to do it if you're committed to an amazing level of health and vitality. For me, it just doesn't. There's no place for it for me. Okay, of course, that's a personal thing. All right. Let's see. Jared Palanci has made a $10 contribution. Thank you very much, Jared. I really appreciate that very much. I don't see a question. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Hi, Loren. Thanks for all that you do. My mom is 62 and has an ulcer, probably due to anxiety. Would this have a chance of healing by fasting, or is this damage already done? Well, both things are true. There's obviously already damage, and this is almost always damage that can be healed by fasting, followed by optimal diet and lifestyle choices. I'd be happy to help her. Feel free to reach out to me via email, info@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com, if I can help. But yes, this can almost always be healed in most cases. Okay, there's no reason to suffer with these kinds of issues, and I can only imagine how uncomfortable it must be to be walking around with an ulcer. Okay, so thanks again very much for your contribution. Okay, let's see. Are there any other? No. So there's. Oh, let me see here. So there's no other super chats at this moment. What I'll do then is I'll scroll back up here again, and where was I? Okay, looks like we were here. All right, Will Wait says, also, I'm still on an optimal diet, trying to sip 6 liters of water daily and prep for next fast with you. Not much room for food after that. Should I be concerned about calories deficient? Yes. First of all, I don't know why you're sipping 6 liters per day. It's not like that's the right amount. It's not the wrong amount. It's just that it might not be the right amount for you, the best quantity for you. And of course, it's critically important that you sip slowly. Now, electrolyte deficiencies are far less likely to be an issue when you're eating because you're replacing electrolytes. But it doesn't help you to be taking in more water than your body needs. So what you want to try to do is determine what it is your body actually needs, and do your best to meet that need rather than trying to consume some arbitrary amount. So again, I'm not sure why the 6 liters. For many people, 4 liters, if they're eating optimally, is probably going to be enough. For some people, it might be more than that. But I doubt there are many people that would actually need 6 if eating close to optimally. Okay? And you said, your next fast with me, I don't know. I'm not sure who you are. I don't recognize your screen name, so I don't know if that means you already fasted with me or if that your next fast is going to be here, even though your previous fasts weren't here. But in any case, yeah, I mean, what you want to do is do your best to meet your body's needs without going beyond that as well as you possibly can. Okay. Tariel Swinning, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. Tariel Swinning says, have you had success with healing HSV1 and 2 herpes with water fasting? It's a really good question. And hey, Dee, I see your message there, your comment. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's see. It's a good question because, unfortunately, we don't actually know. And what I mean is, there are people, so-called experts, that, and they may be experts, I don't know, who claim that once in the body, the virus is always in the body. And that may be true. It's certainly true of, today, as they're testing people for COVID-19, what they're really doing is testing for the presence of a coronavirus. It can't tell you if you have COVID-19, this test. It can only tell you if you've been exposed to coronavirus, which your body produces, right? This is garbage produced by a toxic cell. So, but if you've ever taken a flu vaccine in the last 20 years or so, you've been injected with coronavirus. So everyone should test positive. It should always be there. And so can you eliminate the HSV1 virus? No, I don't think you can eliminate it from your body. I mean, it's entirely possible you can't. But let me ask you a question. If you have this virus in your body, but it's not doing anything to hurt you, okay? And I mean, I'm not sure viruses ever harm us. Again, this is just a different understanding of how viruses actually operate. Viruses are there to help us. It's part of the biome, and we need them to be there. But whatever you believe the connection is doesn't matter. The point is, if you're positive for the presence of the virus, but never have any symptoms, does it matter? Okay, for me, I would say no, it doesn't matter. If I have the virus, but I never have a symptom again, who cares? What difference does it make? Okay, and so we see people who come in where they regularly have outbreaks, whether it's on their mouth or it's on their genitals, and after fasting, if they continue making excellent choices, there typically are no more outbreaks until they make a poor choice. So, you can eliminate the symptoms probably forever, but can you actually eliminate the virus from the body? Possibly not. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope that's clear. And thanks again for the contribution. Okay, I'm going to scroll back up here and see where we are. It looks like we have another Deanna Carvalho. Hello, Deanna. How are you? Deanna says, hi, Loren. Can you please talk a little bit about how and why fasting can help improve oral health, decay, gum disease, etc.? Thanks so much. Yeah, I'd be glad to. First of all, let's back up a little bit, because Deanna's question, and it's not an unusual question. People often are asking, well, how can fasting help with this, or how can fasting help with that? And I think the real answer to your question comes in understanding that our bodies are self-cleansing and self-healing. So the body is always, and the only thing that can heal the body is the body, right? I mean, no diet, no smoothie, no supplement, no superfood, no urine, no bleach, no turpentine. Nothing can heal your body. Your body heals itself. That's a starting point. Healing is a biological process, a process of the living organism. So nothing we consume can ever heal us. What fasting does is it allows us to get out of the body's way. So normally, if I'm eating the way the average person does 5 times a day, I'm putting something in my face. If I'm in North America, it means 97% of what I'm putting in my face is ultra-processed foods or animal products. If that's what's going on, if I'm working all day, if I'm being active, if I'm up late, watching television, or if I'm drinking or smoking or using prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs, so I'm using aspirin. If I'm consuming anything except food and clean water, anything else, I'm making it harder for the body to cleanse and heal. The body doesn't have the energy to do that under those circumstances. And so we make it harder for that to happen. Okay? This is the point. And so fasting, makes it possible for the body to cleanse and heal from virtually any condition, regardless of what the condition is. It makes no difference, because cleansing and healing are biological processes. So by giving the body the chance to cleanse and heal, it can accomplish anything that it would normally be able to do or need to do or should be doing. It would be able to do much more efficiently and much more effectively. And that's what happens when we fast. And so what happens in the mouth is no different. Okay, if there's a problem, if there's an infection in the mouth, if there's tooth decay, if there's gum disease, these things that the body should be able to heal, but may not be able to when we live our normal life, the body will be much better able to when we are not eating and when we are resting completely and when we're supporting the body by sipping enough water. Because every process of cleansing, of detoxification, which is a significant part of what happens, requires water. Regardless of which channel we're eliminating from, the urinary tract, the colon, the breath, the skin, the mucous membranes, it all depends on having sufficient water to move the toxins out of the body. And so when we're dehydrated, there's very little detoxification happening, which is why people feel great dry fasting, but don't actually get any healthier. They think they're healthier because as long as they're dehydrated, there's no symptoms. There can't be symptoms if you're dehydrated. Okay, if you're dehydrated enough, your body can't detoxify. It can't cleanse or heal. And you feel good when you're not cleansing and healing. This is why people who make really poor choices, sometimes some people wonder, I make good choices and I'm sick. I've got these issues. And here's someone who eats crap, maybe a family member, a friend who eats really badly and makes all kinds of poor choices. And they seem to be much healthier than me. How is that? They're not healthier. They're not cleansing and healing. Cleansing and healing is what symptoms are. Right? Symptoms is evidence that the body's cleansing and healing. So most people don't understand this and make the mistake of thinking, if you've got symptoms, you're not as healthy. No. If you've got symptoms, it means your body's cleansing and healing. Now, if you have no symptoms, but your body doesn't need to cleanse and heal, that's perfect. That's what we want. We want to be perfectly healthy, no need for symptoms, no symptoms because there's no need for them. If the body needs to cleanse and heal, we want it to be able to cleanse and heal. We want it to be able to express symptoms. Okay? So this is confusing to many people. But this is how and why the body can help with dental issues and any other problems. The only things that aren't going to help, well, let me start with this. The only people that aren't going to be helped, right? If you're here listening today and you're already dead, fasting's not going to help you. If you're still alive, even just a little bit, just barely hanging on, there's a chance that your body can cleanse and heal if you get out of its way. That's what fasting does. It allows amazing things to happen because we get out of the body's way. So it'll help with any condition, any situation that needs to cleanse or heal. We'll see that happening at a much more effectively and much more efficiently via fasting, and that's why. Okay, I hope that helps, Deanna. Thanks again for your contribution. Ian, 4 times 6. Ian, we'll call you Ian 24, 24, has made a 10-pound contribution and said, I recently reread your ebook and noticed how much importance you place on emotional poise, the more equally important key. Are there any resources you can recommend? Books, videos, etc. Yeah, thanks, Ian. It's a great question. There are many great resources, and you're absolutely right that I place, what I like to say, what Ian's quoting me here, it says it's the more important key, more equally important key. Yeah, it's a little joke I have. I say that there are 7 keys to optimal health. Each of them is equally important, and emotional poise is more equally important. Okay, obviously it can't really be more important, more equally important. But the point is that you can know how to meet your body's needs in every way. You can know how to exercise, how to stay fit. You can know how, about water and sleep and rest and diet. But what happens if you don't have some degree of emotional poise? Most people will not be able to consistently make excellent choices without having a high level of emotional poise. Because most of the poor choices that people make, they make subconsciously in order to suppress emotions. Okay, and so it's very difficult for most people to consistently make excellent choices if they're actually in some way feeling the need to suppress emotions subconsciously. This is what drives most people to make poor choices. So when you're emotionally poised and there is some suppressed anger or sadness or whatever it might be that comes up, how do you respond? You feel it. You feel the emotion, and then it passes. It dissipates, and it's no longer affecting you in any way. And so you can live your life from this place of incredible balance. So in terms of resources, there are some fantastic books out there. There's many of them. I'll give you a few of them. The 3 that I taught for 12 or 13 years as part of our 17-week internship program here are Radical Honesty, The Four Agreements, and Nonviolent Communication. Each of these books is, well, the Radical Honesty and Nonviolent Communication are both about communicating with other people. And The Four Agreements is more about your own inner code, how you interact with yourself and life, okay, and other people too. But it's more of it is inside than outside. Those three books are powerful books, okay? Read an amazing book called Love Without Conditions. Let me back up. Radical Honesty by Dr. Brad Blanton, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and Nonviolent Communication by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. Okay, all fantastic books. Love Without Conditions by Paul Ferrini is another amazing book. Calling in the One, which, you know, it sounds like it's ostensibly about attracting a soulmate. The truth is, it's about becoming your own true version of yourself. And it's really powerful. That way, it's a workbook. This is the only one so far. It's a workbook. I think it takes, I forget now, 7 weeks maybe, something like, I forget how many weeks it is to work through this workbook. I think it's something like that, if you go at the pace they recommend. And it's really, really powerful. In fact, beyond the book, I don't know if they're still offering it, but Dr. Catherine Woodward Thomas wrote that book. And I actually met Catherine and did an online course with Catherine and another person facilitating with a tremendous number of students in the course. Fantastic program. I highly recommend it. Okay, it's one of those books I think everybody should read. The work of Byron Katie. Byron Katie takes age-old spiritual principles and distills them down so that anyone can understand and apply them. And it's basically nothing more than formal self-inquiry. Okay, I notice I'm believing that life isn't fair. And so there's a self-inquiry process. Is that true? How do I know that that's true? Where's the proof that that's true? Could it not be that the opposite of that statement is equally true, that life is incredibly fair, that life is only fair, that life can never be unfair? And that all the ways you can turn that around, you want to turn it around and notice that each of these statements could be equally true. Okay? This is liberating. All right? For me, these are some of the most powerful and important books. There's older books. There's a great book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, another fantastic book. There's so many. I mean, this is just a place to start. In fact, boy, I highly recommend, another one of my huge mentors was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk by the name of Thich Nhat Hanh. And Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a lot of books. I'm guessing at least 15 or 20. Mostly, I don't think I have one on my desk here, but here's a book. It's not his book. I'm going to hide the name of this book. I'm not here to publicize this. It's not a book I would publicize, but here's a little book. Thich Nhat Hanh's books were like this. These were books that, in most cases, you could probably read cover to cover in an hour or two at the most. I mean, depending on your reading speed, I suppose. For me, they're really easy reading and very powerful, simple principles. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches mindfulness, right? And a simple example, which I've shared before in some of my live broadcasts. Let's say there are things you need to do, and we need to do things. If, for instance, if I live by myself, you live by yourself. I suppose you don't need to do anything. You could hire other people to do it for you, right? I run a retreat center. We have guest space here for some 44 clients, I think, plus 4 volunteers and myself. And so we have a whole team of housekeepers. So guess what? I don't clean my apartment. I mean, I straighten up sometimes, but if I want my apartment clean, I ask my staff to come clean my apartment, and they regularly do it once or twice a week for me. I like to have fresh flowers, but I don't really have time to go in the garden and cut them all. so that someone does that for me. The same is true with my laundry. But let's say, whatever it is, let's say, okay, let's say you're in a situation where you need to wash your own dishes. I mean, this is actually directly from one of his books. I don't recall which one. Probably mindfulness. But he had a lot of books which used mindfulness in the title. And he says, let's say you have to wash the dishes, right? You have dishes you want to get clean, but you don't enjoy washing the dishes. He said, what you want to do is just do whatever you're doing. So if you're washing the dishes, just be there washing the dishes. Don't wash the dishes while your mind is somewhere else wishing you were doing something else, because then you're not enjoying yourself. It's about staying present. Okay. In fact, there was a great book written some years ago. I haven't read this in a long time. It was called Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. And it was by a PhD from Eastern Europe, Dr. Mihaly, and I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, Csikszentmihalyi, something like that. I'm sure I'm destroying his name because I find those Eastern European names sometimes difficult to pronounce. But another fantastic book. And there's many, many more. This is a good place to start, though. Start with these. One of the most important things and powerful things you can do is to meditate on a regular basis if you're not already doing this. For anyone who doesn't have a meditation practice, I'd highly recommend getting one, starting one. If you're one of those people that says, I tried meditating, it's too hard, I can't do it. The harder it is to do, the more you need to do it. Okay, if it was easy for you, it's like anything else. I mean, if I jump down and do 10 push-ups and they're easy, then doing 10 push-ups isn't really challenging me. I'm not getting so much benefit from that. I need to do more than that. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it does. I think it does. But it can be challenging sometimes. I've been meditating now for coming up on 46 years. Okay, I was taught meditation when I was 14, and I'm nearly 60. So does that mean meditation is always easy? No. Sometimes my mind is active and wanders, and I'm constantly thinking, and I constantly bring myself back to this place of no thought, where I let go of thoughts and I'm just being present. We want to practice just being present as much as possible. And sitting meditation isn't the only way. You can do a walking meditation where you're conscious and you're not just sitting and being. You can meditate your way through your entire day. But that's different, okay? And so I would encourage you to start, if you don't have one, a practice of regular meditation, all right? Jonathan Mulinax has made a $199 contribution and asked, tell us about a miracle at Tanglewood. Okay, we see them all the time. And some of these, I tend to tell the same ones over and over again because they're the ones that stand out the most. But we had the gentleman who, at 18, was diagnosed with severe arthritis and came to me at, I believe it was 42, where he'd been on painkillers every single day of his life for 24 years. And knew he was coming off the painkillers when he began fasting. He already knew that. Came off the painkillers, 5 days in, came to me crying, tears in his eyes, in more pain than he'd ever experienced in his life. And he said, I don't know if I can do this. I've never experienced this much pain before. I got him through the process. I taught him a couple of simple techniques to reduce pain. These are techniques used by chronic pain sufferers, where even medications aren't helping them very much. And I taught him these techniques, and he was able to reduce the pain a little bit. I held his hand emotionally through the process. And he came back to see me on day 10 or day 11, 5 or 6 days later. And he said, again, tears in his eyes, but this time it was different. There were tears of joy. And he said to me, Loren, this is the first day in 24 years I've experienced no pain. So we're still in touch. I haven't talked to him now for a while, probably a year. I've seen him a couple times since he left here. I actually spent some time in his country, in Edinburgh, Scotland, and he actually helped organize events there. This is often what happens. Often when I travel and speak, in many places I go, it's clients past clients who are helping to organize events because they want to share the miracle they experience. And so I've done 3 lecture tours in Israel, organized by clients there. I was in Stockholm last December, late November. A client organized events for me in Sweden. Clients organize events for me in Poland and Denmark, and where else? In Spain, and in the UK, and throughout the U.S., across the U.S., in many cities across the U.S. Here in Argentina, in Chile, in various cities in both those countries, all over the world. I mean, this is often what happens. So, yeah, amazing. Still today, symptom-free, no pain, no drugs. He said no drugs whatsoever. It's now been 4.5 years since he left here, and he's still pain-free. Now, fasting doesn't heal your body permanently. It sets you back to an earlier time. What determines whether or not you experience these benefits on a permanent basis or not, that depends on the choices that you make going forward. So he continued to make excellent choices, and what that means, he's continued to have excellent results. Okay? So there's one example. I'm going to move on because I've got 3 more super chats waiting for me. ITAC UMCell. Hello, ITAC. Thank you so much for your consistent support. I really appreciate that. ITAC has made a €10 contribution and said, do you still eliminate mucoid plaque when you do a long water fast? And can we send random gifts over to your place in Costa Rica? Well, thank you. It's very kind. First of all, yes. Do you still eliminate mucoid plaque when you do a long water fast? You only eliminate, most of the mucoid plaque isn't really eliminated any other way. We see people eliminating hard material through juice. We don't see it here, but people tell us through juice fasts, etc. And they come here thinking they're clean. Every single person, regardless of how many juice fasts they've done or how many herbal cleanses they've done or how many salt flushes they've done, whatever else they've done, they all eliminate mucoid plaque, old, very hard material. I mean, just yesterday, a lovely woman who wouldn't normally say these words told me how her anus hurt because she's at the end. Today is her last day of refeeding after a 21-day fast. And she's been passing very old, hard material. And this is someone who's eaten a super clean diet of fruit and leafy greens for 6 or 8 years, I think, something like that, who wasn't eliminating throughout the fast and thinking, well, I'm probably clean, and then began refeeding. And that's when the old stuff starts to come out for most people. I had a client who his last day of refeeding with me is today as well. I think it's today as well for him. And also 21-day fast. He so far has a record. I think if I remember correctly, he has had so far roughly 150 bowel movements in 27 days fasting and refeeding. Not all large, not all hard, but a tremendous elimination of material from his body, some of it not all mucoid plaque. In fact, the first 140 bowel movements or so were not mucoid plaque. Only in these last couple days is the old hard material. And it doesn't happen when someone water fasts long enough. Someone happens if one water fasts long enough and properly sipping the appropriate amount of water for their body. So we see people here that come from other places. True North, for instance, they do not eliminate this stuff, never, because they don't fast long enough, they don't rest enough, and they don't drink enough water. They're told not to drink more than 2 liters. They do not move that material out of their bodies. Okay, you can eliminate it if you are doing it this long enough, properly resting, and sipping enough water. And you want to be careful. Again, this is where it's really, really important and useful to have experienced guidance. Okay, can we send random gifts over to your place in Costa Rica? Yeah, thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. It's your kindness, your generosity is it's moving. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Brandon. Brandon, hello there, Brandon. Good to see you. Brandon has made 2 $9.99 contributions, and one after the other. So I'm going to answer both these questions one after the other. The first one says, I know each person is different, but would it be safe to say that someone drinking a gallon of water, drinking slowly, would be enough on a raw vegan diet? For most people, yes. For most people, drinking a gallon, 4 quarts or 4 liters, which is just over a gallon. For most people, eating optimally That's plenty. The key, as Brandon said, drinking slowly, right? Those of you that have been around for a while, which is many of you know, you need to sip water slowly, okay? There's a limit to how much water your kidneys can process in any given moment, okay? And that limit is approximately 1 liter per hour, but it's the pace. What that means is 500 milliliters, or roughly 16 ounces per 30 minutes. This is maximum. I recommend people drink half this much to be safe, but the maximum would be 16 ounces in 30 minutes, 500 milliliters, 8 ounces in 15 minutes, 250 milliliters, 125 milliliters, or 4 ounces in, where was I? 7.5 minutes, I think. I've confused myself. But you want to take it down to, you can see that there's a small amount you can drink every minute or two. If if I guzzle half the glass, no, don't drink for half an hour, am I okay? No. In the minute or 15 seconds I drink half a glass of water, my kidneys can't process it that quickly. Most of that water goes into my bladder. I don't get the benefit into my cells, and it takes electrolytes with it. Okay, this is not helping you. Okay, it's not helping you. So you want to be sure that you are sipping slowly over the course of the day. Okay, 4 liters for most people eating optimally should be plenty. You can always check your vital signs, Brandon, and if you're not sure, Brandon is a friend and client. Feel free to send me your numbers, and I'll let you know whether there's an issue. Okay, I can tell you that's okay or not okay, right? We can see that based on your numbers. Okay. All right. Brandon has also said, Loren, besides living a raw vegan lifestyle, drinking enough water, and incorporating water fasting into the lifestyle, what are some great tips to ensure having top quality skincare? I think what you mean is top quality skin. It's not so much about the care of your skin. I mean, again, a lot of people are going to argue with me, but I've gotten, I don't hear this as much as I did when I was 30 or 35. When I was 35, let's see, 35. Yeah, early 30s, somewhere between 30 and 35 for a few years. I volunteered at a local organic co-op. I was in the process of getting Tanglewood set up and running. Money was tight, and I got a discount because I volunteered, X number of hours, whatever it was, 20 hours a month or something at this co-op. I don't remember what the deal was now. It's been a long time. It's been more than 30 years, or about 25 years or more. So I was working in the produce section only, and what would happen to me probably almost every shift that I worked, I didn't work that often. Again, it was only 20 hours a month, so I might do 5 hours once a week one day. I come in the morning and work until noon or 1 o'clock, and that was it. That was my contribution for the week, and that gave me a discount. And so what would happen almost every shift I was there is someone, usually a woman, would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, your skin is amazing. What do you do?" And I would say, "What do you use?" I would say, "Well, water, nothing else, no soap, okay, no creams or lotions, nothing special, no peels, none of that, none of those products. Water, cool water, gentle washcloth, that's it, nothing else." Now I've created some some damage from the sun. This is from excessive sun. I live in the tropics now for 15 plus years. I love the sun. I love to surf. Body surfing, I can't wear a hat. I'm on my belly in the water. It doesn't work, and I get sunburned, and this is repetitive sunburn. So that's created it. But other than that, people still comment on how soft and smooth my skin is. And what do? Water, nothing else. Getting your body clean and then keeping it clean. Drink, sip plenty of water, as you said, fast and eat optimally. That's really all you should need to do. There really shouldn't be anything else necessary. Now, it may take a while, right? If you've done one long fast with me, Brandon, I know you're planning on coming back. And by the way, just a reminder, we are still offering, it's about to go away, but we're still offering a 20% discount for anyone who registers for their next fast. Doesn't matter when you come, you've got 2 years to get here, plus any time that there's restricted travel. So if you're living in a place you can't get here now, we'll add that to the 2 years. You might have 2.5 years to get here, whatever it is. You can save 20% if you register and pay in full now. We're doing this because we have 7 clients here where we would normally have more than 30, and it's, appreciate all your support because it's more challenging right now than it usually is. Okay, so that's really it. That's all you need to do. That should do it. Those love songs, I Think I Love You. Those love songs has again made a $50 contribution, and it's incredibly generous, and I'm very, very, very grateful. And those love songs just says, I'm happy to hear about the miracles. I'm very happy to share them and would be happy to share more. And I'll tell you what, we have a couple of more super chats waiting, and I'm running out of time because I've got a call with a group of clients in 10 minutes. If I've got more time, I will gladly share another one if there's no other super chats that come up. Okay, thank you again so much. Feel free to reach out to me via email. Okay, I'd be very happy to connect with you. info@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. Or in this case, actually, you can write to me at Loren@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. Info is better if you're inquiring about fasting, about anything official. You want to write to info because it means somebody else's eyes is on it besides mine. The problem is I have way too many emails. It's easy to miss them sometimes. I'm just so busy right now, busier than ever. And again, if there's time, I'll give you some updates on some of the things we're up to here. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Krasimir Sergeyev has made an 8 Bulgarian, I'm not sure what your currency is called, but it's 8 of them, Bulgarian something, and there's 8 of them. Thank you. So I think it's a dinar, Bulgarian dinar, if I don't remember correctly. Maybe I don't remember, but I think that's what it is. Thank you so much. You just said hello from Bulgaria. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Ian is back with another £5 contribution. Says, thanks for your reply on emotional poise. Another question, please. What's the shortest time scale you recommend between different mono fruits? Thanks. Okay, so this is a common question. And many people have been told, oh, it's perfectly okay, eat a bunch of fruit and then eat a salad after that. As long as the fruit is first, it's okay. I personally don't think so. I mean, I think we want to have mono meals. It's not mono consumption, like this by itself now and this a moment later is okay as long as they're separate. No. Until this is gone from my system, there really shouldn't be anything else. Now, of course, not all meals are mono, but fruit is best eaten mono. And so most fruit meals should be mono, and mine normally are. And ideally what's happening though, Ian, is you're eating a meal and I'm eating all of this I need to eat to feel completely satisfied. Now, if I do that, chances are good I'm not going to want to eat again for 4 or 5 hours. Okay. And so, or maybe much longer. I mean, again, many of you know this, but these days, I mean, for the last month, my schedule's been completely jam-packed full until 2:30 p.m. every day. That's when I finally get free in the day. And so at 2:30, I have breakfast. Okay. Between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, I'm usually having my first meal of the day. I then eat again at 6 or 7. And some days I skip the first meal and I have my only meal at 6 or 7 in the evening. But, I certainly, I wouldn't want to eat apples now and wait, an hour and eat oranges. If I've eaten all the apples I need, I don't need anything else. Now, every once in a while, I'll make a compromise and combine more than one fruit at the same time. Okay, or maybe even, if it's, let's say I'm at some sort of a party or a festival, I might eat more frequently than I normally would. Maybe after I've given it enough time, maybe I will eat something else. But that's a different circumstance, and it's an unusual circumstance. And if you're doing that, coming to that direct question, an hour for most fruit should be enough. For the very heaviest things. I mean, durian, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes 3 hours to clear your stomach in some cases. It's high fat, it's high sugar, it doesn't digest so easily. Many people get gassy when they eat it. That's why there's some indigestion. It's not going to be the easiest thing to digest. I love it, and I'll always eat it anyway when I can, but it would make sense to wait quite a while before eating anything on top of that. Okay, I hope that's clear. I hope that's clear and that makes sense. Thanks again so much for your contribution. I really appreciate that. Okay, so, all right. In the absence of an additional, let's see, Jonathan says, Loren, would there be any benefit for you to fast again since you're already healthy and don't necessarily need to? Well, it's a great question. So there's a comment, Capster underneath says, more energy, mental clarity. Actually, I have tons of energy as long as I get enough sleep. I mean, like boundless energy. I describe it as like a busload of 11-year-olds, okay, or 10-year-olds. I probably couldn't have more energy than I have now, as long as I get enough sleep. My mental clarity is as good as it gets. Honestly, I think the answer is no, as long as I'm consistently making excellent choices. Now, obviously, if I make a compromise, 3 months ago now, maybe 2 months ago, something like that, one of my volunteers had a birthday. His wife made a gourmet type raw vegan meal, and I partook, I participated, I ate everything she prepared. It was all tasty, and I definitely didn't feel as good the next day. I didn't fast, but there's a case where fasting might have enabled my body to eliminate some of this less than optimal stuff a little more quickly. That probably would be useful. I didn't feel the need to do it. There is a time that I fast. I do still fast, but I don't fast to cleanse my body. I don't fast to get more energy or mental clarity. I don't see anything changing when I fast along those lines, because I'm at a place where it's pretty good most of the time. And if it's not, I mean, usually it's because I'm not getting enough sleep. And, again, to be honest, I haven't had enough sleep for quite a while. We're so busy. I usually, as I said, I'm nonstop from 5 a.m. until 2:30 to 3 p.m. That's when I have my first meal. Then I usually feel like I can't stare at a screen anymore. So I'll take a little break. I'll go have a conference. One of the projects we're working on is creating an online nutrition and health coaching course. That's the second section of it. That will be up and available within a couple months. There's a lot of work to do right now on that. I have someone else doing most of that work, a couple people, but I'm still heavily involved in it. And it often means, 3 or 4 times a week conferences to discuss various points and make decisions, etc. The great news is we have those conferences over a ping pong table while playing ping pong. We can do those 2 things at one time. It's not, non-competitive. We're just volleying, but it enables me to relax a little bit and do something else, which is good. Hand-eye coordination, a little bit of physical activity, not like a lot of exercise, but some activity, a diversion while still being useful time. But I'm usually working until 10 or 11 o'clock at night and sometimes later. And so, I may often get only 5 hours of sleep, not really quite enough. Last night, 5 hours of sleep. Okay. I was really hoping, okay, I'm going to be live. I'd like to feel as good as possible. I'm feeling a little more tired than usual, and I still have tons of energy and tons of mental clarity. But I still surf, body surf. I ride a motorcycle. I ride a quadricycle, a 4-wheel, all-terrain vehicle. I don't have much time to mountain bike anymore, but I used to rock climb. These kinds of activities mean I get injured sometimes. When I get injured, I fast to heal. And fasting allows my body to heal so much more rapidly. I had another comment. This happens all the time. Someone commented on one of my videos. Intermittent fasting is good enough. Like you can heal perfectly well doing that. Folks, I've been eating my meals in an average 4 to 5 hour window, right? That means fasting 19 to 20 hours every day for 27 years. Okay, it's great stuff. But when I have something to heal, I fast, not for 20 hours, but for 3, 5, 7, 14, 21 days, depending on what it is, the enormity of the healing necessary. And I see amazing things happen. And I apologize, those love songs, because I'm almost out of time and may not be sharing another healing miracle with you today. But if you remind me next time, I'll be glad to. Or if you want to connect sometime, we can do that. All right. Anyway, so I see Judy is here. Thank you so much. I see your comment, Meta, at the very bottom. You're way ahead of Eric and Shelton. Thank you so much. It's a very kind comment. Shelton, to me, was a real pioneer, way ahead of his time. So, he was an early pioneer, and I've learned a tremendous amount from him. Now, in some ways, I've gone beyond what I've learned from Shelton. And it's people like, well, who are you to disagree with Shelton? Well, I'm an intelligent guy who has a lot of experience, fasted many thousands of people over 23 and a half years now that I've run the world's largest dedicated water fasting center. I have a tremendous amount of experience myself, and we know a lot more. I mean, we know things that Shelton couldn't have known. Okay, there was no way to measure hydration back then. So we can see now that people coming in are almost uniformly seriously dehydrated, and that's a real problem. But folks, I'm going to have to go. Thank you so much for being here with me. I truly appreciate that. I hope it's been good for you. If you speak Spanish, are you aware that starting a week from Sunday the 27th of September, we have a course starting. It's when I travel and speak, I usually offer a full day seminar called Creating Perfect Health, and I was asked to teach this to a group in Santiago, in Chile. But I thought 8 hours online, that's a lot of time. I don't really want to sit in front of my computer for 8 hours. It's a lot of time for them to sit in front of their computer at one time. I thought instead, let's break it up into 4 2-hour sessions. Okay, we'll do it that way. And then someone asked me, well, can we do a bonus? How about if we do a 5th 2-hour session for the first 25 people that get in? And that's what we did. And it's inexpensive. I don't have to travel. I don't need a hotel, all that stuff. It starts a week from Sunday the 27th. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Costa Rica time every day for those 5 weeks. And let me know whether you think maybe there'd be people interested in doing the same thing, and probably have to wait until I'm done with this one because I don't really have time to do both at the same time. But we could do the same thing in English if there's enough interest. Okay, I've taught this Creating Perfect Health system all over the world to very enthusiastic groups in more than 25 countries, and maybe you'd like to participate. And again, we could do it the same way. And by the way, we're using what is it called? Webinar Jam. And so each session is recorded, and because you're enrolled in it, you can go back and watch it. So if you can't be there that Sunday, it doesn't matter. You can go back and watch it another time. Okay, you can go back and watch the whole thing 2 or 3 times. It's not permanent forever, but I think you have a certain amount of time, like a month. You can watch it as many times as you want. So let me know if you might be interested in that, and if so, we can get that organized for some time coming up in the not so distant future. Maybe we'll do that starting in late October into November. Okay, got to go, folks. Have a great time. I see those love songs has made another contribution. Thank you so much. Again, I'm truly moved by your generosity. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, everyone, listen, I hope you have a fantastic week. I'm off. I'm out of here. I've got a group waiting for me. So I'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Oh, let's go there. And we'll shut that off, and then we'll come up here to Instagram.